Again, as yesterday, we have a kind of complicated reading, the Old Testament, a lot of Old Testament names, and some strange things seeming to happen in this text from the second book of Kings. And so I'm just going to explain a little bit of what's happening and put it in context for us. This is happening, what's happened is the king now is Josiah. Yesterday we heard about Hezekiah, one of the, I think either the father, I think it's probably the great-grandfather or so of Josiah. Hezekiah was someone who reformed the Jewish faith and brought people back to fear of the Lord, back to obedience. And Josiah is doing the same. He's one of the few, Hezekiah and Josiah, one of the few good kings of Israel. Most of them were pretty bad, and some of them were downright evil. So we have Josiah here, and he's not only reforming, but he is renovating the temple. It's kind of fallen into a little bit of disrepair and such, so he's renovating. And while they're doing the renovations, they discover a book. And when they read it, they discover actually it's the book of the law. It's what we now know as Deuteronomy, the book of Deuteronomy. And it'd been lost. I'm not sure how long it'd been lost for, but it'd been lost for a long time. And people had stopped obeying the teachings that were in the book of Deuteronomy. So when the priest read it, there was shock. We should be behaving like this, and we're not. He read it before the king. Shock. We should be behaving like this, and we're not. And so when they're confronted with their own behavior and what the Lord expects, there is that desire to turn and become obedient to the law of the Lord. And they don't do it by halves. The king brings out all the leaders, everyone who kind of has any position of authority, and he brings them out, brings them to the temple, and reads it. This is the law of the Lord. This is how we should be living, folks. And he commits himself, first of all, I am committing myself publicly. I am going to live this. And it's not, for most of us, it's, we're Catholics, and, church teaches this, and I think I'll follow these ones and that one, and but I'm not going to do all these things, forget that. And it's a kind of a private thing that we make for ourselves, I'm just going to live the bits that I like, and the rest of it I'm going to do what I like with. Here, Josiah commits himself to living the whole thing. He doesn't just commit it, he makes a covenant with the Lord. It's a sacred bond. Lord, I am committing myself publicly to live your law, to live the way you want me to. And those who are with him do the same. And so for us, the question is, what is my position on the teaching of the church that the Lord has given us? Am I looking through the menu and deciding which ones I want to keep and which ones I don't? Or have I made that commitment, as Hezekiah did and others before and after, to live it completely, fully, to give myself to the Lord in obedience, in imitation of Jesus, who gave himself to us, for us, in obedience.